Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to That's Football. Massive, huge game. Arsenal against Leicester. The race for top four. We've also had a load of 2 o'clock kickoffs as well, as I'm sure many of you have been keeping an eye on. It's not down the bottom of the league. It's looking very interesting, I think. Everton losing, Leeds and Watford winning. I think it's looking hard for Everton. It really is. We'll go through that in a minute, but this is a massive game about top four. Big shout out to West Ham as well. They just keep defying the odds. Playing Thursday night in Spain, and then Villa are a good side with a week off, and they go and beat them 1-0. I mean, West Ham are only 2 points behind United, so it's interesting, isn't it? I think they're level with Arsenal now, but obviously Arsenal with the games in hand. This is the pressure pot for Arsenal. Look, I'm not gonna start waxing lyrical about anything before it's even happened, but I was talking about this on the United Stand this morning. Manchester United in the Premier League are in 4th place at the moment. They are 2 points ahead of Arsenal, who have 4 games in hand. This time next week, Arsenal will have 1 game in hand because they play today, Wednesday against Liverpool, and next Saturday against Arsenal. Now, the big thing as a United fan has always been, well, they've virtually got the same points as us and they've got loads of games in hand. Next week, 1 game in hand. I mean, it's a game in hand, isn't it? There's no slippage there. So what am I looking for as a United fan? I need Arsenal to only take 4 points from the next 9. So a win, a loss and a draw, which I think is realistic. I think the Liverpool game you would expect them to lose, and then maybe a draw at Villa, and maybe they win today. But if they don't win today, there's pressure on them getting 4 points from that. And if they get 4 points from the next 9, they'd only be 2 points ahead of United with a game in hand. If they can get 2 points from 9, 2 draws or 2 losses in there, absolutely fantastic. But why won't West Ham go away, says Marketing James, I think is a great point. But yeah, this is a massive game. It's a massive game for Arsenal, massive game for United, massive game around top 4. And as I said, Arsenal currently have 4 games in hand on United, who are 2 points ahead of them. But this time next week, they'll only have 1 game in hand. How many points can they get from these 9? If Arsenal take 9 points, they'll be 7 points ahead of United with a game in hand. I can't see them taking 9, but look, that's the fear, isn't it? So, big result for Chelsea as well. We will go through some of the score. Well, we'll go through all the Premier League 2 o'clocks. There was quite a few today. But first of all, just going to give you the team news. Arsenal, the home side against Leicester. Ramsdale, Suarez, White, Gabriel and Cherney. Partey, Xhaka, Zaka, Odegaard, Martinelli, Lacazette. It's becoming quite a rhythmic. There's a word, isn't there? Rhythmic. No, it's not right. There's I don't know. There's a fluidity to that team. It's becoming quite predictable, which is a good thing. Smith Rowe is on the bench for them today. He's not involved. There was talk he wasn't going to be even on the bench, but he is on the bench. And then you've got Leicester with Schmeichel, Pereira, Amate, Sionku, Thomas, Maddison, Mendy, Dewsbury Hall, Albrighton, Iheanacho and Barnes. Interesting thing for Leicester is they've put Ndidi on the bench. Obviously Vardy is out injured at the moment. Tielemans on the bench as well. I don't know what that's all about with Leicester. I mean, I suppose I would probably say it's got something to do with their recent form in games. I don't know, maybe because they played Rennes on Thursday night. I'm just looking at Leicester's last 2 results. They beat Leeds 1-0 last Saturday, and their lineup did contain Ndidi and Tielemans. I think. Let's have a quick look. Last Saturday, yeah, Ndidi and Tielemans both started, and then they played on Thursday. Oh, Thursday night football for Leicester as well. Another big another big advantage for Leicester. And both Ndidi and Tielemans played in that. So, you know what? I'm really angry now. I'm really angry. They're bloody resting players for the Europa, aren't they? He's resting bloody players for the Europa. Ndidi and Tielemans are on the bench because he's resting them for Thursday night football. That's what he's bloody doing. That's what it's come for. Leicester are prioritising the Conference League over the Premier League. Bloody great. That's just great, that is. That's bloody great. Absolutely fucking fantastic, that is. That's absolutely appalling. Bloody hell. He's resting players for the Conference League. He's got Tillemans and Ndidi on the bench. Bloody hell. Anyway, Charlie says he's annoyed and he's a Leicester fan. It looks, I mean, to be fair, if you look at the league table, that Leicester have just given up, haven't they? They've got 33 points. They know they're not going to get top four. They know they're not going to get relegated. They're just, they're going through the motions. So I'd put Arsenal firm favourites now. They're playing for the Conference League, exactly. Which is the danger, isn't it? It is the danger. And look, I've actually been, I wouldn't say I'm pro-Arsenal. I think I've been more seeing what Arsenal are doing over the last 18 months than some of their fans. Oh, Tara! Oh, Tara! Give me that t-shirt! Oh, Tara! But this was always going to be the advantage for Arsenal. They're not playing in Europe. I mentioned this in January. I said this will bite United on the arse. If United don't come into February and get the points against Burnley, which they didn't, against Southampton, which they didn't, against Watford, which they didn't, if they don't build up a bit of a buffer over Arsenal, in this part of the season, when teams are playing in Europe on a Thursday and on a Wednesday and on a Tuesday, and Arsenal aren't, it's a big advantage. Arsenal have had a week off, and they're at home to Leicester, who've played Thursday night football and are now playing Sunday night, and they've got to play on Thursday again. So it's a big advantage for Arsenal, and I expect their fitness levels and sharpness to be a lot better. So yeah, Leicester not playing Ndidi, not playing Tillemans. They are both on the bench, obviously with an eye on Thursday night football in the Conference League. I think he's rotated a bit more than that as well. Daka's not starting. He's starting with Iheanacho. You could argue that Lookman might start as well. So Lookman, Daka, Ndidi, Tillemans all on the bench for Leicester as they focus on the Conference League. How depressing is that for a Leicester fan? Anyway, Arsenal looking strong for this game. And as I said, the bad situation for United is if Arsenal win today, they go a point ahead of United and still have 3 games in hand. So, you know, and Arsenal play 2 of those games in hand over the next few weeks. We'll be doing all those watch-alongs on this channel, not because we're becoming an Arsenal channel, but because they are interesting games. Wednesday night, it's a bit of both on Wednesday night. I'm going to do Arsenal against Leicester at 8:15, but we'll be keeping an eye on Tottenham-Everton at 7:30, and of course Chelsea's second leg tie in the Champions League. It's about the players. It's about the structure. So it's about the fixtures. We'll be keeping an eye on all of those. Let me just tell you as well, let me just check the chat. Thanks everyone for getting involved. Got over 5,000 watching already. Please subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Sunshine, Gary Neville, says Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I just want Poch in charge. That was a bit scouse. That wasn't Gary Neville, was it? Hey, Gary, I want Poch in charge. I'm mad for Poch. Mad for it. Me and our kid Phil, we want Poch. I can't do Gary Neville, so I just do Mank. Spurs Brighton on Wednesday night. Spurs Brighton on Wednesday night. Leicester to win 4-1, says James. I hope so. We'll do a bit of a prediction. We'll do a bit of poll. We like a bit of poll, so we'll do a bit of poll. And let's do that. Arsenal win. Draw. I tell you what I'm getting excited about. Really getting excited about. Tuesday night, United Atletico Madrid. Yes, I am very excited about that. But I'm also excited about this time next week. Formula 1, Watchalong opener on this channel. And then 6 o'clock this time next week. Liverpool against Forest, FA Cup quarter-final. Big weekend next weekend. Arsenal Villa at 12:30. Middlesbrough Chelsea at 5 in the Cup. Sunday afternoon at 3, the Formula 1 opener. And then 6 o'clock, it's Liverpool against Forest in the FA Cup. Big weekend, looking forward to it. And then after that, we've got the World Cup qualifiers Thursday night and then the following Tuesday. So make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and get involved. I nearly said Everton to win, and unfortunately they've already lost. So it's Leicester, isn't it? Leicester are playing. Thanks for our first super chat of the evening. Mark, we need to talk about your Scouse accent. You're hurting yourself and others around you. This intervention is to stop you hurting anyone else, says whoever. Thank you very much. And busy times for you. No, I enjoy it. I enjoy watching the football. I don't think I'm going to enjoy today. I think Arsenal. I'm going to jinx it and say this will be an easy win for Arsenal. I'm just expecting it. But as I said, 3 games in hand for Arsenal. They're playing in the next week. Could really do with them taking less than 2 points. But I'm going to be realistic and say if we can keep it down to a minimum of 4, I still think we've got a chance at top 4. A fighting chance. Anyway. Chelsea have won today. They're the highest team to play today, and they've won. They're on 59 points now. 1-0 home win to Newcastle. You've got to give Newcastle a bit of credit. I thought they maybe could have got a penalty, but a good result for Chelsea. Difficult week, and they've won a couple of games. Probably fortunate that they're playing Norwich and Newcastle, but then again, Newcastle are much improved. A good win for Chelsea. Puts them up to 59 points. There was that hope, I think, amongst Arsenal, United, Spurs fans that Chelsea could get pulled into a race for top four, make it about 2 spots instead of 1. I think Chelsea are just moving through the gears now, and they're 2 points off Man City with the same amount of games played, but they're comfortably ahead of everybody else. Having said that, if Arsenal won every game they've got in hand on Chelsea, which is 3, they could go 2 points behind them, but I'd be very surprised if they did that. That's got to be the aim for Arsenal, though. Everton losing to Wolves, and this was really interesting. Wolves are not in a race for top 4. They're just a bit far off. They're a bit far off for me, Wolves. They're 5 points off United, and they played the same amount of games. 4 points off United with the same amount of games. But a good result for Wolves against a very poor Everton. You've got to question why Everton gave Lampard the job. I tweeted it earlier. Did you see the penalty Newcastle should have had, says Game? I did. I thought it could have been a penalty, yeah. Ricky, I told you, Mark. Bruno was the problem all along. Matic was the man yesterday. Cheers from Sevilla. Marshall FC will win, says DK. And did you hear Stone Cold is going to have a WrestleMania match? I really think you should do a watch along for it. It's 2 nights, however, says Jack. I tried to do it last week, and I just couldn't. Last year I couldn't be arsed, to be honest. But yeah, I do think it's. I think they're a bit unlucky, Newcastle. But Everton, I don't think Everton should have appointed Lampard in hindsight. I think it was a bit of a risk. Is Lampard the sort of guy who's going to keep you up in a relegation fight? I think they might have been better off staying with Benitez, to be honest with you. It's not looking good for Everton. We looked at Everton's fixtures last week. 1-0 loss to Wolves. Okay, it's 1-0, but they're not scoring goals. You've got to win your home games. Watford have gone and beat Southampton today. You've got to do it. Thoughts on Donny's performance for Everton? Would you give him a chance next season? Love the channel. Cheers from America. It's interesting, Achilles, because I was keeping an eye on the Everton-Wolves game more than I was keeping an eye on any other game. And look, you know this as well as I do. We're all capable of twisting a story. But I was watching the game, I had an eye on the game, and I don't think Everton played well, but it's interesting. On the BBC player ratings, which is voted for by thousands and thousands of people, Donny was voted the best player for Everton. He wasn't superb, but he certainly wasn't Everton's worst player. And I think if you put McTominay in that team, would he do any better? Would Fred do any better? So to answer the question, I think Donny should have been given more chances. I'm not saying he's setting the world on fire, but he's certainly not Everton's worst player. And but I think Everton are in big danger of going down. I really do. They're if you look at the bottom of the league now, Watford are on the same amount of points as Everton, who've got 3 games in hand. But Everton's fixtures are not easy. Burnley are only a point behind Everton. Leeds with a massive late win for Leeds against Norwich, 2-1 late win, puts them 4 points clear of Everton, 4 points clear of Watford. Brentford's win against Burnley yesterday was huge. I wouldn't say Brentford and Leeds are out of relegation problems because they've played 29 games and Everton have only played 26 and Burnley have only played 27. But unless Burnley and Everton consistently start picking up wins, I do feel that Leeds, Brentford and certainly Newcastle have just moved away from danger now, and it's looking like it's going to be Everton, Watford, Burnley or Norwich. I'd say Everton will stay up because they've got the better players, but have they got the right sort of players and manager for a relegation battle? We saw Everton at Spurs last Monday going, and a point's like when you're down near the bottom, a point is like a win. And I think Lampard sets them up for the win. He doesn't set them up necessarily for the draw. Did you see Havertz's world-class goal? He's too good, says Naomi. I didn't see the goal, but it's a good win. You're the goat, Mark, says Connor. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Connor. And I think we've just about covered every result. So West Ham beat Villa 2-1, which is interesting because it was 1-0 last time I checked. Yeah, 2-0, 82 minutes, Fornells, and then Ramsey with a 90-minute goal. Fantastic goal for West Ham. Want to come back for that. Southampton losing at home to Watford. Southampton starting to put themselves on the beach a little bit, and Watford are fighting for their lives. Doesn't surprise me, that sort of a result now. which is why I worry about Leicester today. I think Leicester, Southampton, Villa, they're almost on the beach, really. They're not going to get relegated and they're not going to get in Europe. So, maybe they're starting to think already about the summer and next season. But yeah, Chelsea 1, Newcastle 0, Everton 0, Wolves 1, Leeds 2, Norwich 1. Big win for Leeds. Southampton 1, Watford 2, and West Ham 2, Aston Villa 1. Leeds winning 2-1, Rodrigo and Gerhardt with a 90-minute +4 winner, having Norwich equalised on 90 +1. Best part of that game was definitely the last stoppage time. But interestingly for Leeds, I look at that Leeds side now. They've got Bamford back. This is something that Bielsa never had. You've got Bamford back, and it just makes a big difference to that team. It's interesting, isn't it? You get a new manager, and suddenly you start getting imported players back. But West Ham, I've got to give West Ham a big shout out. We're about 8 minutes away from kickoff here, so we have got time. West Ham, look, say what you like about West Ham, but they played Thursday in Sevilla and they got played off the park, but they only lost 1-0. Massive game on Thursday night for West Ham. What's happening? They play Fabianski, Johnson, Dawson, Zuma, Cresswell, Soucek, Rice, Fornals, Lanzini, Benrahma, Antonio. More or less the same team that played on Thursday night. They go and beat a fresh, good Aston Villa side with Coutinho, Watkins, Ings, Ramsey, the same old players. And they beat them 2-1. And you know what? They deserve to beat them 2-1 because they it was a very equal game, but they've got the 3 points. They were 2-0 up in the 90th minute. And I just don't know what to say about West Ham this season other than give them praise. They are actually above Arsenal at the moment on goal difference. They've played 4 more games, but they've played the same amount of games as United, and they're 2 points behind them. I think West Ham are having a fantastic season. I've always written West Ham off for top 4, of course. I don't think they can do that. And I think Europa League is going to make it difficult for them. Massive game for West Ham on Thursday night. Second leg for them. But I also feel that you've got to give them a bit of praise. And look, maybe West Ham go out. Maybe they go out on Thursday night and then they can focus 100% on the league. Sevilla on Thursday night, and then they've got a massive game next Sunday at 4:30 against Spurs. And then they've got Everton, then they've got Brentford, then they've got Burnley, then they've got Chelsea, then they've got Arsenal. That could be a big game. Norwich, Man City and Brighton. I mean, I think when you look at West Ham, how many games they got left? 9 games left for West Ham. I think West Ham would be saying, I think West Ham will be looking at points totals now. And with 9 games to go, they're probably saying, well, there's 27 points there. If we can get 65 points, 17 from 29, 65 points, see where that puts us. And I think that's what West Ham have got to be looking to do. But a very, very good result for West Ham. Big game next week against Spurs. Hi, Mark. João Felix has got 7 goals and assists in his last 7 games. Do you think he's going to cause trouble to our defence? Says Fodger Rederer. I do think that it will be a big game. I'm very excited about it on Tuesday night. I do like that Arsenal tracksuit top, apart from the Arsenal badge and the sponsor. I think it's a lovely, like a darker red with the. I love it. I love that tracksuit top. I'd buy it if it didn't have Arsenal on it. Such a nice top. The Arsenal badge just ruins it. But yeah, it is a nice tracksuit top. Yeah, I think Atletico Madrid. I expect a similar game on Tuesday night to the United Spurs game. I think we're not way better than them, and I think that's what I enjoyed about United's win yesterday. Is that it was, I did a combined 11 before kickoff, and I was like, I'd put 5 Spurs players in it and 6 United players in it. You could do it the other way. You could put 6 Spurs and 5 United. But very equal teams yesterday, and the quality came through and won us the game. Oh shit! You bloody idiot! That's hot water! You bloody idiot! Oh, God. I'm fed up of it. I'm shouting at myself. I'm fed up of it. That could have gone in your mouse. Oh, I'm shouting at the cup. Bloody idiot. There's a big wet puddle there now. Right before kick-off. Right. 1 minute. Oh, what a brat. Bloody burnt elbow now. That's me out of action for the week. I'll just have to use my left hand. Anyway, I'm for writing, not the other thing beginning with W. You lot are filth. You're absolute filth. I hate water. I like water. You need water to live. But I hate it when you spill water. Bloody goes everywhere. What are you putting them on for? You're an idiot. What are you going to do? Take your top off and have a shower? Oh, it's on the floor as well. I can feel it. It's like I pissed myself. With warm water, which is what piss is like, actually. There's something quite refreshing. I'm not going to say that. People will think I'm into something I'm not. Right. Hi, Mark. Yeah. So I think João Felix is going to be a decent player. But I do think that like the game yesterday, I think it'll be quite equal. If we can win it comfortably, great. But I do think it'll be quite equal. Ooh, right. Just putting the tweet out. Sorry about that. Sort of getting lost in a chat with myself. I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes. Love is all around me. And so I tell you what. So let's have a look at the poll so far. We've got 57% going with an Arsenal win, 16% going with a draw, 27% going with a Leicester win. I can't see Leicester winning this. Reverse psychology, jinx, whatever you want to call it. And thank you very much, DK. Mark, there's no way you do these perverted jokes on purpose. They are too funny. I remember you in Paris after Rashford. Yeah, that's the worst goal reaction I've ever done. That's one, people always say, is there anything that makes you cringe? That one always makes me cringe. I wish I'd never done that one. Yeah. Are you doing a watch-along for Madrid versus Barcelona? Wasn't planning on it. Mark, I came up with a new nickname for our midfield, Fred Matic. Yes, it sounds like a dodgy power tool with a short shelf life, which might be apt, says Nick P. And Alpha Gaming, thank you very much for the super chat. Right, I'm going to end the poll there. We're about to start. We'll do some either-ors during the game. Don't worry about 4:33. I don't know why it's stuck on that, but we will be starting it as soon as the game kicks off. United and Atletico combined 11. It'd be very unfair for me to do that, mate, because I don't watch La Liga. It would be very unfair. But I do think... thinking about it off the top of my head, you'd probably get 5 Atletico Madrid players in and 6 United players in, wouldn't you? So, again, I think it'll be a very equal game on Tuesday, and if United can win it convincingly, which I hope they do, that would be great, but I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting a very similar game to Spurs, to be honest, and I'm expecting them to knock the ball around quite comfortably against us. Do your stretch, says BSG. Anyway, we're excited about this one. Massive. That's Football's the place to be over the next 2 weeks. United actually have only got one game in the next 2 weeks, and that's Tuesday night. We're not playing next weekend because Liverpool are playing in the Cup and we're meant to be playing them. So for watch-alongs, this is the place to be. That's Football. Loads of watch-alongs over the next few weeks, as well as Formula One watch-alongs. We're going That's Racing next weekend for the opener of the F1, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm telling you now, if you're not sure about Formula One, which I'm sure a lot of you are, check out Drive to Survive on Netflix and get ready. It's going to be great. Hi, Mark. This last 12 months as a Doncaster fan has been torture. 4 managers, 51 players in league games, 68 games overall, 15 winnings and 43 defeats, says Coaster. Bloody hell. That is bad. Hopefully things get better for you, mate. Hopefully they do. Do a stretch, says Leon. You want me to do a stretch because you know it's wet below me and I might slip. I'm not bloody stupid. Thankfully, I've got slippers on that have got rubber soles. Leicester is playing to win the conference because they can go to the Europa if they win, while they can't win or get relegated in the Prem. Ian, I completely agree with you about that. But what frustrates me a little bit about it is that it plays into Arsenal's hands. Leicester play Arsenal today, and then they play Man United at home in their next couple of games. So, but the advantage that Arsenal have got is that Arsenal are sandwiched in between 2 massive Conference League games. We play Leicester just after the international break, so they'll probably be fresher for that game. Half-time, go through and pick best signing so far, says Roger, and need desperately midfielders who can mark players, says Nick Hill. Fraser Peak says, don't watch Drive to Survive, it's nothing like real F1. Mate, I've been watching Formula 1 for 30 years. I love Drive to Survive. It's just, I think Drive to Survive is fantastic for Formula One because it tells the story, the backstory of all these irrelevant teams that are normally it's just about Red Bull and Mercedes. And what I love, I've just watched the episode with where Ocon won, and with Alpine, and I love it. I love Formula One. It's a great way to get into Formula One. I think it's a brilliant. For me, Drive to Survive is what All or Nothing has been for football. Are Arsenal getting top four, says Josiah. Look, I tell you what, I hope you're not going to get top four. I think your favourites for top four. Pressure, put pressure on Arsenal. They should. I want a live audio stream into the Emirates for the next every game until the end of the season, so they can hear me. I just want a big microphone. You're the favourites, you prats. Lack of threat up front. Yeah. Ben White, you're shite. Cherney, you're just an Aldi. You're an Aldi Robertson. Ramsdale, Pickford's got your spot. Xhaka and Partey, it's like a Poundland, Pogba and Kante. Yeah, I just want to rip the piss out of them for the next 10 weeks because they are the favourites, and somehow we've got to try and exert some pressure on them. But I always say, who deserves top four? Who deserves the title? It's Liverpool or Man City, quite clearly. Who deserves to go down? Norwich definitely deserve to go down. You could say Watford and Everton at the moment. But I think in relation to top four, I'd say Arsenal probably do deserve top four. So put the pressure on them. But interestingly for Arsenal, this is the start of 3 games in a row where United don't play. As I said, Arsenal have got 4 games in hand on United. This time next week they'll have 1. So if Arsenal, look, imagine Arsenal beat Villa, beat Leicester. They've got 6 points. I'm assuming they're going to lose to Liverpool on Wednesday night. I know that's very assumptive, but it is at the Emirates. But I assume Arsenal will lose to Liverpool on Wednesday. If they lose to Liverpool on Wednesday, but they beat Villa and they win today, that's 6 points. They'd be 4 points ahead of United with a game in hand. So that would be a good week for them. Really need Leicester or Villa to do us a favour. Still water everywhere. Oh, thanks everyone who watched my video, by the way. You can watch it through the community tab. It was called Goldbridge Does Stand Up. I think it's sort of been lost on a few people, but thanks everyone who appreciated it. I mean, I've had some replies with that. This isn't stand up. There's no punchlines. I'm like, yeah, you don't really know what it's meant to be about, do you? It's the joke is I'm stood up. That's the point. But thanks everyone who's checked it. It was hot water, tears. Zayn Miasi's here. He's got a cup of tea on. What happened to Red Dead, says account. Last time I checked, it was still on my PS5, half played. Who's on United Stand show tonight, says Lloyd. I know I'm on it. But I am worried about this game today. Leicester have put Tillemans and Didi Daka on the bench with their eye on Conference League football. So it's a big opportunity for Arsenal. We need. But then again, really love the shows like Vikings and Peaky Blinders. I know you like them too. Any recommendations for similar types of shows? Love from Singapore, says Terence. Yeah, check out Last Kingdom. Definitely check out that. That's on Netflix at the moment. Season 4's just come out, so you'd have 4 seasons to watch. Ricky was very happy that Bruno wasn't playing. We're going to talk about that on the show tonight at 8 o'clock, United Stand. Arsenal don't deserve top 4, says Nick P. Horrible to say, but I want Harry Maguire and co thinking they're world beaters, cupping his ears. Oh, sorry, he says, Nick P says Arsenal do deserve top 4. It's horrible to say, but I don't want Harry Maguire and co thinking they're world beaters, cupping his ears to crowd celebrating it. Well, if United get top 4, it's not going to be about the team, is it? I mean, one thing I would say yesterday, I watched the game, I loved Ronaldo's performance, but it was very much about Cristiano Ronaldo. Mark, that video stand-up of you was pure class, says Gerard. I've already got loads of ideas to do with the second one and how to do it better. I don't know whether I'm doing it this week. I might try and do cooking with Goldbridge this week. It's just whether I can get the ingredients, but it'll definitely be back. I'm just going to alternate. I'll do a driving with Goldbridge. I'll do the stand-up thing. I'll do some cooking with Goldbridge and some other bits. There's loads of stuff I could do on that channel. I don't think Spurs are out of the top 4 race, you know. I mean, I think Spurs are the team that... I can't understand how Spurs are still in the top 4 race, you know. In recent weeks, they've lost to United, Burnley, Wolves, Southampton. They've literally dropped 12 points. And I still wouldn't put them out the top 4 race, because if they win their games in hand, they're actually above United. United are 5 points ahead of them now, but Spurs have got 2 games in hand, which are coming up. They've got Brighton on Wednesday and then they've got West Ham next week. If they won both those games, they'd be above United. It's ridiculous. But then, again, we talk about games in hand. It's all about Arsenal. Great save from Martin. Well, Martinelli didn't save his own shot. He was offside anyway. First 7 minutes, big chance. Kasper Schmeichel makes a good save, but he was offside. Offside Martinelli. Probably should have scored. Taboo on Netflix is very good as well, yeah. How's your social life in real life, says Michael. It could be better. Could be better. And there's nothing to do with YouTube or Twitch. It's just the fact I've got 3 kids. So I can't finish a stream and say to Mrs. Goldbridge, let's get down the local Reflex and dance to Duran Duran, which is what we want to do. All we want to do is get down an 80s club and have a dance till the early hours, sipping Long Island iced teas and vaping. I wouldn't vape. Don't vape. Don't smoke. But no, yeah, busy. F1 next week. Yes, Pacey, I'm looking forward to it. And I think vaping's very dangerous, really. I'm glad it wasn't around when I was a kid. The ability to suck on something that tastes nice. Which sounds all sorts of wrong, but you know what I mean. It's like, I did used to smoke when I was younger, and I do regret it, but I stopped years and years ago. But I probably used to smoke because I loved Oasis, and you know, I always used to go. I mean, Red Stripe Lager is what Liam Gallagher used to drink. I used to go down my local country pub and say, "Got any Red Stripe?" And they go, "Why are you talking like?" They wouldn't do it. They go, "Why are you talking like that?" "I'll just sort it out for tomorrow night. Mad for it. Can I have some change for the pool table?" Sunshine, Gary Neville. Is Saka on the wing? There goes Gary Neville. Saka, good play. Gets the shot off. Arsenal just starting to flex their muscles a little bit here. I'll tell you what film I watched last night and I really liked it. It might be a bit clever for you lot. Some of you will get it. But it was called Boiling Point with Stephen Graham in. It's I got it on Amazon Prime for £5. I tell you what, it's an independent film as well. It's well worth the £5 to give them a bit of a shout out. Cracking film, so clever. All done off one camera, continuous take, 90 minutes. It's so clever. I loved it, absolutely loved it. Big shout out. Didn't think it was going to be my cup of tea, but it's just so clever. Boiling Point, it's called. Give it a watch if you want. Too clever for you, yeah, Seravin. It's too clever for you. I can't believe that you can do a film like that in a packed out restaurant, and he's a chef, acting continuously for 90 minutes with one camera just following them around, no cuts. Amazing. I only thought about it at the end. How does being celebrity... Oh, Arsenal have scored! Kiss my arse! Kiss it! Bloody Leicester! Bloody, all they're thinking about is bloody Thursday nights in the Conference League. You may as well have sent the bloody reserves. You bloody useless statues. Foxes, more like bloody cowards. You've come here with white flags. Thomas Partey, 1-0. That's it, game over. That's game over. Go and do your Sunday night ironing or whatever you do to get ready for work tomorrow. Leicester have bloody let us down here on the front post. There's bloody loads of them. There's bloody 4... Oh my God. That is just unbelievable. There's more blue shirts. That I can't believe. That is what a crap. Leicester are crap, basically. Fair play, Arsenal. Well done. I knew we were going to win anyway. Leicester are crap. I've changed the score. Yeah, I mean, basically, if you're not watching, corner comes in, front post header by Thomas Partey. There's a goalkeeper and 4 blue shirts, and I say blue shirts, turquoise shirts, and he just heads it in at the front post. It's like a FIFA glitch penalty. FIFA 2019, you could do that. Front post header, easy to score. Leicester did beat us, but Ollie was in charge, Jack. Where does Sunshine Gary Neville come from? Says Luke. It's a bit like Scooby-Doo. It just helps me. There's certain words when you're doing an accent that just sort of get you into that. That's it's like when I do Jim White. Slow Sports News, Jim White, yellow tie, Audi. There's certain words that I can do. So Sunshine Gary Neville, it just helps me get into a crap Manc accent. Like Scooby-Doo, Scottish, you see. So, yeah, that's where it comes from. Yeah. Arsenal 1-0 up in the first 10 minutes here against Leicester is not a good thing. They have come into this game completely... I mean, they've rested Ndidi, Tielemans, Daka because they're in the Conference League on Thursday. It's a mentality thing, isn't it? You know, Arsenal have had a week off. They're full of confidence. Rodgers has come down here and rested players. Pratt. Poundland, Jurgen Klopp. It's not over yet, says Arthur. Well, I hope it's not over yet, but Arsenal are dominating here. I didn't see the PSG fans booing. What's wrong with my words, Gerard? I did not see the PSG fans booing Messi and Neymar, but I heard about it. Yeah, I heard about it. I mean, look, I understand the PSG's frustrations when you buy Lionel Messi and he doesn't perform, but also what I would say is Martinelli's in again here. Also, what I would say is that I don't think Pochettino has played to Messi's strengths at all this season. Please subscribe, by the way, bottom right-hand corner. Thanks, everyone, for watching. You're all very welcome on this channel. Doesn't matter who you support. We can get involved, have a bit of chat and watch a game of football. 1-0 here to Leicester. Wish it was Leicester. 1-0 here. How does being a celebrity feel like to you? Pros and cons, says Webber. I'm not a celebrity, mate, so I don't relate to that comment at all. Leicester are bad, says Goat. Well, even my jinx powers cannot defeat Leicester's crapness. I said it'd be a comfortable win for Arsenal in the hope that that would be a jinx, but I'll take anything here. I'm just trying to put some pressure onto Arsenal, but they're not biting. Zayn Miassi says game over. I'm very, 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 very much thinking that might be the case. I suppose the only positive is United have got Leicester in a couple of weeks. But he'll pick Tielemans and Ndidi for that game. Of course he will. Of course he will. Look, I can't be pissed off with Leicester. It's Man United's fault. But this is the danger at this part of the season, is that if somebody's in Europe on Thursday, they might rotate their team for a Sunday. And that's exactly what Leicester have done. He's basically weakened his midfield massively. And as we all know, games are won and lost in the midfield. He's supporting Liverpool this Wednesday, says Mike. You know what? If Arsenal win this, that's 3 points. I need them to not get any more than 4 from Liverpool and Villa as well. So if they get a draw out, I'd like a draw's not. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do, Joe? I don't know. What do you do as a United fan on Wednesday night? Do you want Liverpool to win because it helps us? But it then helps them get closer to a title? This is what United have inflicted on us, you bloody pink boot wearing prats. You're putting us in a position where on Wednesday night we need Arsenal to lose and Liverpool to lose. And a draw's no good. I mean, a draw would be good in the fact that it stops Liverpool's title charge, but that would give Arsenal a bonus point. I think to be honest, I don't know what to say about that game. I don't know what to say. People will say, "Oh, let Liverpool win." I can see Liverpool going and winning at the Etihad, and then they've won the league. Need Liverpool to drop some points at some point. Have you ever had a moment when you've had no motivation to do anything? How do you deal with something like that? Says the Studio Saga. What? Seriously had no motivation to do anything? Yeah, loads of times. But also in my football life as well. Football supporting life. Sorry we smashed Paul Ince's team yesterday, says Simon Jones. Yeah, I've got to speak to him next week. Hi Mark, do you think Arteta is getting the most out of Smith Rowe, and how much will Champions League affect their position next year with more games? Oh my God, lack of threat. Blocked. Arsenal are pushing for the second here. Is it the bar? Is it the Denver bar? Partey. You think Thomas Partey? He thinks he's Thomas Lewandowski at the moment. Going back to that question from Angus, do I think that Arteta's getting the most out of Smith Rowe? I don't think he needs to pick Smith Rowe at the moment. I don't know whether he's carrying an injury. I've been very impressed with Martinelli off the left. Saka off the right is fantastic. Odegaard is underrated. And then Xhaka and Partey are doing a great job as the two midfielders. I mean, really, he'd love to have a striker, wouldn't he? But I think, Smith Rowe is a young player. There's some big games to come. You know you're going to get injuries. So I think that, I think it's good. But Thomas Lewandowski here, he's already got one goal. He's going for his second one here. Edge of the box, just calmly comes onto it, curls it. What a goal that would have been. Leicester are crap, Peter. Yeah, I'm not enjoying it. Would Arsenal being in the Champions League next year be a problem? Well, they're going to be in Europe next year. This season, not being in Europe has been something that Arteta has used very well. It's not just about fitness. It's about the ability to coach midweek. So if I'm an Arsenal manager and I'm playing on Sunday and then I'm not playing till Saturday, I can push my players harder. I can work on shape. I can work on things. If you're Man City or Liverpool, this is why Klopp and Pep are such good coaches, and Tuchel, because you know what your style of players and you ingrain it into your team, and then you don't need to work on it too much midweek. You're just keeping everybody sharp. So next season it'll be more challenging for Arsenal because they're going to play more games, but they're going to be in the Europa League anyway. You're going to have more games next year. Do you want to be in the Europa League? Do you want to be in the Champions League? You want to be in the Champions League, don't you? The big problem Arteta will have if they get in the Champions League is, will the board give him the players that he needs? Because Arsenal aren't going to win the Champions League next year, like United were never going to win the Champions League this year. The challenge would be, can they enjoy the Champions League next year whilst also compete for top four? I think the battle for top four next season is going to be the same as this year. Maybe West Ham will still do it. Spurs, United, Arsenal. I don't know whether Newcastle will be ready to do it next year. So yeah, the challenge for Arsenal next year will be to be good enough to compete for the top four whilst also being good in the Champions League. Saka goes on a great run. He could have had a penalty there. He's not going to get it, but he's not. But it was a good run. And here's Martinelli. They've got to stand off him. Shoots. And Schmeichel gets there. I tell you what, Arsenal are pushing for the second goal here. Lewis says the TUSFC career is the best ever. Oh, I'm loving it, mate. Back tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Is this a penalty on Saka? You're not going to get one. If the ref had given it, it would have been a penalty, but they're not going to overrule it on VAR. Leicester have done absolutely nothing in this game. Absolutely bloody nothing. Absolute shite, basically. Disease Gaming, are Arsenal a good team to watch? Yes. Yes. Everyone can be a TUSFC fan, mate. Don't have to be a United fan. I am still doing Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, I've just been very tired recently. I know it's a bit of a crap excuse, but I have. Thoughts on Kai Havertz, says Rozzy. I really liked him when he was in the Bundesliga, and I think I'd put Kai Havertz into the... I think you get different types of players. Like, Pepe, I thought was a good signing for Arsenal. And I wasn't too concerned that he had a bad first season because I thought he might have a good second season. He hasn't. But with Kai Havertz, I think he has done that. First season adjustment, second season very, very good. And to be fair, in his first season he came quite good at the end under Tuchel. So Havertz is a fantastic player. And it's the Fabinho effect, isn't it? Fabinho's first year at Liverpool, he didn't look like he was going to be that good. But then second season he got what it was all about. What I like about Chelsea is that Lukaku's an arsehole, isn't he? Let's be honest. Lukaku has behaved badly. I know he's realised now that the club's just going to move on without him, but he's behaved badly, Lukaku, and that was the player that Chelsea needed to fight for the title this year. They won the Champions League last year, and I think as a cup team they're capable of winning any game. But to win a title, you need a number 9 who can score you lots of goals. Lukaku was meant to be that player, and he didn't do it. So Tuchel's done the right thing. He's like, I can't rely on this Lukaku guy. And so I'm going to put Havertz back through the middle. And it's worked really, really well for them. So, yeah, he's doing well. Do you think Villa will sign Coutinho permanently, says Dan? He's very expensive, mate. I don't know. Leicester are in. Harvey Barnes. Ramsdale does well. They wanted an offside. Hi Mark, says Tariq. Yesterday you'd mentioned something about this channel hiring, something about a minute video. Could you speak more on that, please? Thanks. It's not this channel, mate. It's United Stand. We probably will be looking at getting people involved in this channel at some point, but at the moment it's United Stand. Is Harry Maguire a flop, says Sunday A. I feel bad for you actually doing a super chat for that. I mean, £80 million player. Probably the worst captain I've ever seen for Man United. Bang average on a good day. I'd say he's a bit of a flop, yeah. I mean, Liverpool bought Van Dijk for 75 million. Man City bought Ruben Diaz for what? 60 million? Man United bought Harry Maguire for 80 million. He is a flop. That doesn't mean he's shit, but he's definitely a flop. You can't... that will go down in history as one of the worst signings ever. £80 million for that. It's just not an £80 million centre back. He's just not, is he? I don't know what his value is, but it's certainly not north of 50. English tax probably at 50 million, but he's not an £80 million player. And what he was doing in pink boots yesterday, I cannot understand it. Somebody said, well, you're being very arrogant because he might not be aware of the whole pink boots Phil Jones thing. And I'm like, well, that's his that's his old problem then, is he? He's got no idea about the club that he... Oh, Leicester! Oh, Maddison, you're such a twat. Why did he start trying to take people on? Just get the shot off. Cross comes in, Ramsdale tips it out to the penalty spot. Maddison's got it. Now it's 4v3 for Arsenal. Into Martinelli. He's going to bend this. He tries to. Good block. Refused to pay 75 million for Koulibaly and paid 80 million for Maguire 2 weeks later. I still can't get over it, says Jameson Gray. Would you take John McGinn for Man United as well? I think United need better than McGinn, but I think McGinn is better than what we've got. But so I would take him, but I think we can get better. Grizzly says Arsenal are going to get top 4. Well, they are favourites for it, but there was half a chance for Leicester there. If Maddison didn't think he was bloody prime Messi in the box and was trying to almost walk it in. Hi Mark, Barca fan here. I read your guys are interested in our centre-back, Arayo. Hope we can extend his contract, but if not, you guys are getting a young top centre-back, says Rope Alarino. Well, I spoke to Fabrizio Romano on Friday night about this on the United Stand, and he seemed quite confident that Barcelona would end up getting him on a new contract. So I wouldn't. I'd be quite confident that he probably will sign a new deal, especially when you look at what Barcelona are trying to do. They seem to be accumulating players and renewing the contracts of good players. They don't look like they're letting players go at the moment. So We'll have to wait and see. Well, I suppose the hope in this game is that Leicester are only 1-0 down at the moment. Because oh God, I just need Arsenal to start dropping some points. Yeah, we'll probably get a Kanji, Bombay. I think you're right. What's happened to Tomiyasu? I think he's injured, isn't he? Amy's asking about that. What's for Sunday dinner, Mark? Says Robert Kerr. I've had it. Absolutely beautiful. Homemade pie. It had chicken, leeks, pancetta. It was absolutely lovely. And it was a nice thick sauce in the pie as well. Lovely. Really lovely with green vegetables and boiled potatoes. Oh, absolutely lovely. Here's Martinelli on the left. Not a great cross. Leicester clear it. Arsenal's running. If they go 2-0 up here, it's over. Here's Kieran Tierney. Cuts it back. Edge of the box. Odegaard to Saka. Lovely ball. Saka's in the box. He's got players all around him. Probably a bit greedy. Goes for the shot. Arsenal's fixtures. Arsenal's running. So obviously we know they've got Leicester. Liverpool on we've got Leicester now. Liverpool on Wednesday night at the Emirates. Then they travel to Birmingham to Villa Park on Saturday lunchtime. We'll be doing both those games as a watch along on here. Cross comes in. Headed away by Leicester. Then after the international break, remember they've got no cup games. They're not in the FA Cup. They're not in Europe. After the international break, they go to Palace. Then they play Brighton at home, Southampton away. Then they play United. Then they've got West Ham away. Then they've got Leeds at home, Newcastle away, Everton at home. I would expect Arsenal to potentially win their last 3 games. Lack of threat, shoots from 30 yards straight at the keeper. That United game's huge. If they win that, they've got top 4 basically. I would, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be looking at that and going, that's the cup final, because even if you drop points over the next few games, you beat United, you know you're going to be above us. Same as us. If we beat you, we'll probably be above you, hopefully. But maybe not. Can United sign De Ligt or De Jong in the summer, says Rahul. Gabriel's just gone down here, holding his eye. Dreams can come true. Look at me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have dreams. You know you got to be strong. Dreams. He is. Let's have a look. Iheanacho. There's nothing in that. Yeah, tea, please. Have a tea, please, Bob. Did they lose?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a yellow card for Iheanacho. He just puts his hand out and catches him in the eye. Arsenal game in hand. Spurs, Villa, West Ham and Southampton all away. And all games that United have played. United are favourites, says Adia. How to be wrong. How can United be favourites for top 4 when Arsenal are a point ahead of us as things stand with 3 games in hand and we've got to go to their place? I like your positivity and enthusiasm, but you're deluded, mate. We are not favourites for top 4 because it's quite simply not in our hands. I'll tell you what, there's probably Arsenal fans saying that should be a red. Never. MMY, Mark, how to deal with depression? Do things that make you happy. Do I think Chelsea will get top 4? Definitely, yeah. Should Leicester get rid of Rodgers, says Advath? Somebody's got to give Graham Potter a go. I know Brighton aren't doing very well at the moment, but I feel like Brighton aren't doing very well at the moment because they've sort of ran out of energy. Arsenal have got still got Spurs and Chelsea to play, says Alex. Yeah, but United have still got to go to Anfield, we've still got to go to the Emirates, and we've still got to play Chelsea ourselves. So I think that even though Arsenal have got 3 games in hand, we've got similar sort of fixtures left as well. It's not like we're playing Norwich at home every week and they're playing City away every week. The fixtures are about the same. But Arsenal have got more of them, and they're ahead of us, and they've got better goal difference. Come on, Leicester, get back in the game, says Zisha. And also, even if United do push Arsenal close for top 4, one thing United don't seem to be capable of is absolutely pounding a team as well. Goal difference could come into it, and United just don't beat teams 3 or 4-0. We're going to have to go and do that, you know. Here's Leicester on the attack. Good tackle. 32 minutes gone. We could just win the Champions League, Dan. I don't know why we've not thought of that. Oh, that would be a good idea. Let's just go and win the Champions League, which is why I'm so excited about Tuesday night. Because I think it's going to be an interesting tie. I think it could be quite close. And I want to be in that draw on Friday. I want to be in the draw on Friday. Maradona or Messi, says Rayan. For me, Maradona. But I understand why people say Messi. Arsenal's game in hands are very difficult. Come on, you Spurs, says Nathan. Oh, I get tired of explaining this, Nathan. Right, I can't speak for Spurs, but some United fans basically say Arsenal's games in hand mean nothing because they're difficult games, right? And their games in hand technically are Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, right? Which is all fine, but United have still got to play Chelsea and Liverpool. So 2 of those hard games in hand for Arsenal, we've got to play ourselves. So even if you write off Arsenal's games in hand as difficult, what about when we play Chelsea and Liverpool and Arsenal are playing bloody Brentford and Norwich? So you know what I mean? It sort of balances itself out in Arsenal's favour, because their games in hand might be difficult, but we've got to play those teams as well. So it depends who we're playing when they're playing when we play that. Newcastle were robbed today, says Barbara. Yeah, looked like it could have been a penalty to me. Please make a video on getting rid of the Glazers, says Rahul. I can do it right now. There's a queue of people wanting to buy Chelsea. If just some of those billionaires wanted to buy United, get in contact with United Stand and other fan groups. We'll get behind you and we'll kick the Glazers out. That's what needs to happen. But you've got to have a viable option to buy the club. Protests and replies to sponsors ain't going to work. Thanks, Zishan. Thank you very much for the lovely comment there. Please do subscribe, by the way. Bottom right hand corner. I'm feeling like Leicester are coming back into this game a little bit now. Come on, Leicester. Come on, the Foxes. Up the Foxes. Corner to Leicester. Oh, they've gone short. What they're doing there. That corner was rubbish. Just put a cross in next time. Stop all this crap stuff. Yeah, please subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. We're on the road to 628,000. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. Bottom right hand corner to subscribe. Lots of watch-alongs coming up over the next couple of weeks. And we've got a Formula 1 opener next Sunday. Goal! No, what a save by Ramsdale, you annoying keeper. Annoying keeper. It's a great header by Leicester, and I think it's in. I'm saying goal, and it's a good save. Is it a great save? Let's have a look. Header from Barnes. Yeah, good reaction save by Ramsdale. It's a little bit close to him. It's a good save. It's a good reaction save, but I'd like that to have been in the top corner, really. He wouldn't have saved it then. He's celebrating, Ramsdale. He's jumping up and down with his hands in the air. Oh, it's a corner. I thought he just stood on his own going, yes, I'm brilliant. Catches that. Easy save, says Dr. Elf. Lovely kick out by Ramsdale into Saka, who can't keep it on. Do I watch any professional cycling? No. Another save, camera save by Ramsdale, says some shock. Straight at him. Well, Leicester have done a little bit better in the last few minutes. That's always the good thing if Arsenal don't get the second goal, is that it's still on. I think if they get a second goal in this, it's going to be very difficult for Leicester to get anything out of it. I'd love a point. Hi Mark, Arsenal look so much better in this system, says Charville. I think that's the success of Arteta. I mean, I don't want to bore people going on about what I've been saying for 18 months, but to me it's been very clear what Arteta was doing. When he came into the job, first of all, and won the FA Cup, they were playing very defensive, counter-attacking football, and I think that's because he didn't have the players that he wanted, but he knew he needed to get results in the early days, and they did get some decent results in the early days, didn't they? And they won an FA Cup. Then I feel last season was more transitional, where he actually moved away from being a part-of-the-bus counter-attacking side and actually wanted to evolve the team in his vision. That obviously led to a few mixed results, and then he's also got rid of the players that he doesn't want and started bringing in his own players. So it's been a gradual evolution under Arteta for Arsenal, but what you're now seeing is that stability that he's brought in over 2 years, where he's got two holding midfielders in Xhaka and Partey. He's got his midfield attacking three with Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, his forward, and then a settled back four with a good goalkeeper in behind it. And you can see what he's doing. And also, your next step at Arsenal is probably going to be certainly a top-class striker. I think they'll bring another good midfielder in as well. And then it'll be about depth, adding depth to that team. Because they've got Odegaard, they've got Saka, they've got Martinelli, got Smith Rowe, got Pepe. So they've got options in the attacking positions. They just need more options in the midfield and up front. Would you take Klinsmann as next United manager? No. No, I wouldn't. The football 4-5-4. Been out of the game for too long for me to trust what he'd be all about. Here's Maddison. Decent cross. Oh, a lovely cross by Maddison. I tell you what, that was a fantastic cross. And no one... Yeah, I'm disappointed if I'm Maddison here, because I used to play like this. Put a lovely cross in and you've got to be expecting an intelligent strike. There's no point clapping him, Iheanacho. Get on the end of it. I don't want a round of applause. I want an assist. A round of applause don't get me an assist bonus. I want the peas. Corner for Leicester anyway. It is a record for Arsenal. 120 corners faced. They've not conceded any. It was a Proctor-esque cross, Daniel, yes. Although Proctor's out of the team at the moment. I'm building a little bit of hope here for Leicester. Arsenal have got a little bit withdrawn in the last 15 minutes. Shane says, if Arsenal haven't conceded a goal in 120 corners, how many... United must have took most of them. Aditya says, games in hand is relative to the opponent you're comparing to and should be ones that United have played but Arsenal have not. Spurs, Hammers, Southampton, Villa are those games, says Aditya. Exactly, I think that's the best way of explaining it, really. I don't think you can say that Arsenal's games in hand are against Liverpool and Chelsea and Spurs when United have still got to play United and Spurs themselves. Sorry, United and Chelsea themselves. The differential games are Spurs, Hammers, Southampton and Villa, says Aditya. Which is a bit worrying when you put it like that. Who do you want to win if Liverpool and City met in the Champions League final, says Louis. It's like Arsenal against Liverpool on Wednesday night. I don't like sitting on the fence, but you know this is what United have reduced us to. There is no nice decision to make, is there? Really? Thank you. Bagel says, I would hope it goes to penalties and never ends. What would you think about a manager like Lowe, who's been a national team manager for so long, says Jameson Gray? You think he could do great things in club football? I don't think United would go anywhere near him. Thoughts on NFFC, says, I can't read that because it's in a language I can't read. Do you have any interest in streaming WWE 2K22, says James Stewart? No. I don't know anything about it, mate. I don't know any of the characters anymore. It's not 2-0 to Arsenal. Well, I'm really looking forward to Forest against Liverpool next week. We'll be doing a watch-along for that. Zishan, he's not around at the moment. Well, Leicester have been better in the last 15 minutes. Darin says, thoughts on the MLS? I try not to have any thoughts on it, really. I've got no interest in it, to be honest. I'd rather watch La Liga. Thoughts on Juventus? Big game against Villarreal midweek. Just looking at the league table at the moment. Milan 63 points, Napoli 60 points, Inter 58 points, and Juventus on 56. But Inter have got 2 games in hand. It's tight. So Italian league, in its own way, has been very good recently. You know, within it, you know, I don't think they're good enough to win the Champions League. I don't think there's a Serie A club that can win the Champions League, but as a league, it's very entertaining. Sanchez, Mahrez or Sane, says Zishan. Sancho, Mahrez or Sane. Good 3 wingers there. I'm going to put that to a poll. It's a good question. You can vote. If I can type. I wouldn't mind any 2 of them at United, let's put it that way. Sancho, Mahrez or Sane, get voting. Do you think Tottenham will get top 4? Says Abdullah. No, I don't. But you're not out of the race, but I don't think you will. I think you've dropped too many points recently. Probably take Mahrez at United over Sane because you could play Sancho off the left and put Mahrez on the right. Then again, if you put Sane on the left, you just put Sancho on the right, don't you? Sancho seems to prefer playing off the left. I want Liverpool or... There's a lot of empty seats here at Arsenal. They all offer a cup of tea or a piss. Well, he's only going to add a minute on here, which is interesting. I think Sancho, but lots of people say Mahrez, says Zishan. I think Sancho just needs to prove it in the Prem. I wouldn't put him ahead of Mahrez at the moment. I think Mahrez is fantastic. I think he's almost become underrated at Man City. But he's a fantastic player. I was at the game yesterday. Maguire was rash all game. There was a moment in the game when Varane told Maguire to stop rushing in. Says a lot, says Arjun. And Mark, you missed my last super chat, says Caden. Sorry about that, mate. I mean, it's not 100% hit rate. I'll try and read them all, but apologies. Sancho's nowhere near as good as Mahrez. Okay, we'll vote then. Would you sell United stand to the Glazer for $20 million, says the Football 454. What would happen to it, though? If it was $20 million and I can keep saying that they're a useless set of owners, of course I'd take the money, and only an idiot would do that. But if it's $20 million and you've got to just be saying how great they are, they can swivel on it. Pumes says, how is Sancho even above Sane in this voting? It's a bit like why people vote for the Centurion City team ahead of the Chelsea 05 team, because it's fresh, isn't it? The City team's fresh and no one remembers the Chelsea team. And Sane doesn't play in the Prem, does he? So people won't, out of sight, out of mind. Which TUSFC players would replace United players in real life, says Devon. It's a bit too niche, that, for me to answer, because people won't really understand it. But Hansen would kick Maguire out. Aarons would kick out Wan-Bissaka or Dalot easily. I think that Nets would kick out Shaw or... So yeah, quickly combine. This is my TUSFC FIFA career mode, so just humorous for a moment. So goalkeeper would be De Gea, Aarons, Varane, Hansen, Nets. Holding midfielder, that's interesting. It would have to be Gravenbach, and I'd play Gravenbach, Bellingham and Bruno, and then I'd play Proctor off the right, Sancho off the left, and you've got to pick between Goldbridge and Kent up front. I'll leave that to the chat. Hi Mark, will you be doing any more Old Firm matches, says Ross? I might do, we'll see how it goes. Arjun says Fred in defence was frustrated with Maguire all game, and during the warm-up Ronaldo was in the middle giving them all a team talk. My captain, says Arjun. Yeah, it was very clear yesterday that Ronaldo was the captain of that team. There's a lot of rumours about players being pissed off with Maguire. Let's do a few either-ors at half-time here. Arsenal are winning 1-0. They started off fantastically well, but to be honest, there is hope for us United fans and Spurs fans and West Ham fans, because Leicester, even though, must be said, Leicester have put some of their best players on the bench to focus on the Conference League. They have still played very well in the last 20 minutes and they're still in it. Dan says, Mark, any Twitch tonight? Says Dan. I don't know yet, mate. I don't know yet. So Mahrez got 51% of the vote, Sane got 21% of the vote, and Sancho got 28% of the vote. The most underrated striker for me is Forlan, says Demolition Aditya. Let's just do a quick either or here. I'm interested to see what people think about this one. It's in context a little bit, so I just wanted to do. It's a bit niche, but Ben White or Sionku, who do you think's the better centre back? I think I know who's going to win, but I actually disagree. I don't think White's proven himself at that level yet, consistently enough. What I would say about Ben White is I think he's had a really good season. Now, I almost thought he was going to end up being a bit like Harry Maguire, massively overpriced and not good enough. But at the moment, the 50 million price tag doesn't actually look unachievable. I don't think he's a £50 million centre-back yet, and I don't think he's proven himself to be a £50 million centre-back. I still think a more fair price was probably 30. But you can't call him a flop. He's had a good season. I still think Arsenal may have overpaid for him, but there's a potential over the next year or two that he might really start to fit that glove. Now, the reason I brought Ben White up while people are voting about White against Sionku is, why is he not playing for England? Why is Ben White not being picked for England? That is a question I would be asking as an England fan, and certainly as an Arsenal fan. Why is Ben White not starting for England? Now, John Stones has had a very good season for Man City. Whatever you think of Pebbles, he's had a very good season. Why is it Ben White? Why is he not starting? He probably will start now in a back three, but I would, if I was Southgate, I'd be playing a high line back four and using my attacking players, and I would be picking Ben White and John Stones with a full back. But he'll play a back five, won't he? White got 71% of the vote, so well done to him there. If there's any either ors you want me to do that we haven't done before, let me know. There is a Sunday night show tonight, Hamas, 8 o'clock on the United Stand. Yes, looking forward to that. It's going to be good. Please subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. We're on the road to 627,000. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Apparently, Maguire's better than Ben White. Yeah, even I don't agree with that as a United fan. I think that, I think Phil Jones is better than Maguire at the moment. So, there we go. I don't think we could do this one, but I do want to do it. It's either or. Forget the spelling if I get it wrong. So let me have a think. What's a good comparison here? I'm trying to think of a good. No. No. It's difficult. I'll do this. I think there's an obvious winner, but I just think topically it might not go the way I think it's going to go. Odegaard or Bruno as a number 10. There was a brief that the board feel they should have gone for the next big thing in Pep and Klopp. If they maintain the stance, they should go for Ten Hag, says Dan, Hullet, Van Basten or Rijkaard. We're not doing that, Abdu. It's not the History Channel. It's not the History Channel. Can't do that. If you've got any Alanga versus Martinelli, Jamie, I can't do that. Martinelli's better than Alanga. 100%. At the moment, Martinelli is way better than Alanga. We've got to be very careful with Alanga. I'm very excited about him, but I don't want to overhype him. He's still very raw. There's still a lot of development for him yet. Whereas I feel as Martinelli is playing like an experienced pro for Arsenal at the moment. Who do you think should start in goal for England? Oh, well, we'll do that one in a minute. I've never understood how Pickford's held on to that number 1 shirt for so long, but it's just typical Southgate. He's got his favourites, hasn't he? We just mentioned the centre-back there. He loves Maguire. You know, Maguire could do anything, and I think Southgate would pick him. And it feels it's the same with Pickford. Like, he just keeps picking Pickford, and he's not the best goalkeeper. Ramsdale's been the best English goalkeeper this season. There's no this season, Ramsdale, whatever you think about it, and some people think he does it for the cameras, but every time I've watched Arsenal this season, whether he's doing it for the cameras or not, he's making saves. And one of the big things about Ramsdale is a personality. It might be very annoying to people who don't support Arsenal, but he's a personality, and he talks to his back four a lot. And that back four is a system. And I think I don't know why Pickford gets picked ahead of him, because he's just not the better keeper. He's not the better keeper at all. He's way clear of him. So 52% going with Bruno and 48% going with Odegaard. A little bit closer than I thought it would be, but yeah, I think Bruno is better than Odegaard at the moment. But he is underrated. He's a good player. Martinelli or Rashford? I mean, there's no point again. There's absolutely no point. Prime Ramos or Prime Van Dijk, says Eric. And what about Shaw or Chilwell? We've done it in the past, mate. We've done it in the past. And lots of Arsenal fans here, says stop playing the game. And Odegaard, complete player, says Bart. He's very underrated. He doesn't get the credit I think he deserves. How does Maguire get picked by all the managers, says Dan. And apparently he bakes brilliant cakes. You know, he's so good at... I've heard this. Apparently he's so good at baking. If he wasn't a professional footballer, he'd probably win the bake-off. He's so good at cakes, and I think he just brings in nice cakes for the manager every week. They look forward to it on a Monday, and I think they're scared that if they drop him, they won't get a cake on a Monday morning. So, yeah, apparently, if he was allowed to be on the bake-off, he'd win it. Whatever happened to Jack Butland was supposed to be the next big thing, says Jameson Gray. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know about that. Van Persie at Arsenal or Van Persie at Man United, says Hayden. Good question. Keep up the great streams, says Screenboy. Thank you very much. Also got a super chat. Pedri or Odegaard, says Roppel. I mean, it's very difficult to compare players that are still sort of developing, and they're developing in different leagues. So I think, you know, I wouldn't use it in an either or, because I think an either or is got to be tangible. And did you notice only McTominay saying happy birthday to Henderson, says Jack Brown? Well, there's a lot of rumours around Henderson, aren't they? I'll say no more. This summer we bought Maguire, James, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. They were perfect for Ollie because they are perfect for low block and counter, says Marketing James. Yeah, and they're all very grateful to come and play for it. And they're all British players as well. Louis Diaz or Rafinha, Maguire or Ronald McDonald, says Leighton. Fabinho or Rodri. We've done that before, Blake. Do you think the Euro 2020 squad would have beaten Croatia in the 2018 World Cup, says Abdu? Not with Southgate in charge, because he picks the wrong team. If we didn't play a back five, England and played a back four, I think I'd fancy England against anyone. But the fact we play part of the bus football. Vardy or Aubameyang, says Zishan. Well, go on then, I'll do that one. I'll have a bit of that. I'll have a nibble on that. It got me thinking. We'll have a go on that one. Vardy or Aubameyang in the community. Get your thoughts in. What are your thoughts? Vardy or Aubameyang? There you go. There's your next poll. Get on it. Southgate got us to the final. I love these. I love these England fans. Oh, we got to the final in a home tournament, playing absolutely crap, where we were lucky not to get knocked out of Germany in the first knockout round, and people think that that's an achievement. He should have walked that. With the players he's got, with home advantage, he never should have been embarrassed like he was done in that final, because he's a park the bus, boring manager. I'll tell you what I'd say about Southgate then. I'll tell you what I'm going to tell you about Southgate. Name me a club in the Premier League that would employ him. Oh, there you go. And we're letting him coach some of the best players we've produced in years. A manager that wouldn't get a job in the Premier League. Dean Smith's a better coach than him. Credit to Arteta for how better organised we are as a team now. We no longer have to rely heavily on individuals or our goals are spread out, says C-Law AFC. And hi Mark, he's still going to do Red Dead Redemption. Alex, people keep asking me about this. You don't need to do super chats about it. Like, I get asked it about 10 times every day. Because I haven't done Red Dead for a couple of weeks, people are like, you're still doing it? You're still doing it? And I keep telling you, yes I am. And when I do it, I'll tell you when I'm going to do it. But, as I keep telling people, you should not burn yourself out. And at the moment, I'm very busy with United Stand and That's Football and stuff, and I can't burn myself into the ground sitting there at 11:30 at night till 1 o'clock in the morning playing a computer game when I've got to be up at 7 o'clock the next day to have a full day of stuff. I love doing Red Dead. It will be back when things slow down a bit. Where do you think England will reach in the World Cup? Says I don't know. I'm begging for Wi-Fi. I've got absolutely no idea. But I think this game's really interesting. Formula 1 this time next week. Formula 1 Watchalong Sunday afternoon, and then 6 o'clock it's Liverpool against Forest in the FA Cup as well. I can't wait for the Formula 1. If you're not sure about it, check out Drive to Survive on Netflix or just tune in next week. It's going to be great. I can't wait for it. So excited. Hopefully the cars are going to be evenly matched because that'll make it even better. But looking at this game so far, Arsenal started off really well. Leicester, resting Tillemans, resting Ndidi, resting Daka for a big game on Thursday, and having played on Thursday, Leicester's season's over. They're not getting relegated. They're not getting into Europe, so they're prioritising that Conference League at the detriment of putting their strongest team out. You know, it's a bit weak-minded. You can see why they've done it. And it could benefit Arsenal. But to be fair, Leicester, having gone 1-0 down, did look more dangerous in the last 20 minutes of that half. Really need Arsenal to drop points. Really need them to drop points. It's a big week for Arsenal. I can't have them getting any more than 4 points. And if they win this, they've got 3 out of 9 already. What day is St. Patrick's Day this week? We don't get a day off here, Colin. I used to love living in Ireland. Loved it. Especially if St. Patrick's Day was like on a Friday. Oh, it'd be great. Great. The problem was when it was on a Monday or a Tuesday, because then you've got to go to school the next day. Yeah, hopefully George Russell will have a good season. Smith Rowe's warming up. Arsenal play Liverpool on Wednesday. Yep, Dylan, they do. So Arsenal play on Wednesday and on Saturday. So they'll get 3 of their 4 games in hand on West Ham and United out of the way by this time next week. Didn't you want Southgate? No. JW, if you can find a clip of me saying I've ever wanted Gareth Southgate as United manager or England manager, you're a liar. Pick one for talking's sake for England to face Italy or Portugal. I'm begging for Wi-Fi. But Italy, it's irrelevant because I don't think anybody understands what international football is about until you get to the tournament in December anyway. Predicting a certain team's going to win it, you never know until the tournament starts. Vardy with 62% of the vote and Aubameyang with 38% of the vote. I thought we might get spammed by Piers Morgan's bots there. He's still going on about bloody sacking Arteta for Aubameyang. Zishan says, both my questions I had done polls for, both of them Vardy, Aubameyang, Sancho, Sane. So thank you for doing polls with my questions. No worries, mate. Thanks for the super chats. Just because you do a super chat don't mean you'll get a poll, by the way. But players are coming out for the second half. And Arsenal lead 1-0. Not you, the club, says JW92. Prime Salah or Prime Hazard, who do you take? Says Unsung Hero. That's a good question. I might do that. Mark, can Arsenal get a win at Liverpool? Says Sergio. It's not at Liverpool, it's at the Emirates, Sergio. And Matip or Varane, says Martin Garish. Well, I think Varane's a better defender. But if you're going on form this season, Matip has been very good. Right, Prime Salah or Prime Hazard. Players are just about to come out here. Get voting. Please subscribe, by the way, bottom right-hand corner to do that. On the road to 627,000. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Everyone's welcome on here. We're just about to get away for the second half. Can Leicester get back into this game? Come on, Leicester. Come on, Leicester. If Ruben Neves was to leave Wolves, where do you think he would go? Would you want him at United? Says Matty. Yeah, I would. It's much better than what we've got. Trent or Reece James? Kyle, that's been done nearly every week on either or. We're not doing it again. Trent will win. He'll win by about 68%. Leicester start the game. There we go. Second half, 1-0. Yes, Arsenal are favourites for top 4. Put the pressure on them. They are favourites for top 4. Can they deal with the pressure? I think if Arsenal were playing in Europe or they were still in the FA Cup or something, I'd be a little bit more confident that their eyes might be distracted. But they've only got to focus on the Premier League. 1 game a week. Obviously not this week. They've got 3 games in a week. But the reality is every game is about the same thing. There's no mind drift. They don't go from, oh, we're playing in the Premier League, now we're playing in the Cup. It's all about the Premier League. Every result is a momentum to one thing. And I don't know whether you've ever played Football Manager or FIFA or whatever, because I certainly have, and I imagine it's like it in real life as well. Even when I used to play football years ago, you know, if you get a win in the league and your next game's the Cup, you almost feel like, oh, I wish we were playing in the league, I want points. And it's a bit like in the Cup, you know, when you're not doing so well in the league and you're doing well in the Cup, I want the next game to be the Cup game. Arsenal don't have that. Everything, their mindset is completely focused on the league, and also it's a positive mindset because it's in their hands to get top 4. So they've got 100% tunnel vision on something that's achievable. Thoughts on Eddie Howe for England next World Cup, says Matt. He's doing a good job. Harry Maguire or an 80s fridge, says Maz. I'd tell you what, I'd swap Harry Maguire for one of those Smeg fridges. You know, the sort of retro ones that are in like duck egg blue. I'd love one of them. So I would swap Maguire for one of them. Thoughts on Mo Salah potentially leaving Liverpool, says whoever. That's going to get clipped up now, isn't it? But it's not mine to sell. But I just really do like those fridges. It's close between Prime Salah and Hazard. Cross comes in from Arsenal. Goes wide. Mount or Foden? It'll be Foden, Zishan. Rooney or Suarez, says Charlie Griffiths. I'd heard that, you know, because it's Maguire, Mag-wire, Smeg, Meg, Maguire, Maguire. On the training ground, they call him Smeg. It's his nickname. I'm joking. Imagine if you heard that Rashford shout, Smeg, Smeg, play it in. Be a good nickname. Who do you think is going to win the Formula 1, says James? I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Really excited about it. It's all going to be about the car performance, isn't it? If the cars are all the same, I'd say Hamilton will win it. Certainly Hamilton or Verstappen. But I'm looking forward to it because the last race was a farce. City or Liverpool for the title, says Mario? I don't know. I mean, I have to want City to win it because they're less of a rival than Liverpool. And, of course, if Liverpool win it, they go up to 20 titles like we've got. So, but that's going to happen at some point. Liverpool are going to overtake us because they're a better side. That ball went out, surely. Chill is not happy. He says that poll being that close is a joke. If you compare Salah and Hazard's numbers, Hazard's has never matched Salah. Yeah, but you know what, Chill? I thought you were going to go the other way then, because I personally agree with what you're saying there. I think Salah's record against Hazard is fantastic in relation to goals, but I also think Hazard is a better individual dribbler as well. They're not. I don't think they get compared all the time, but I don't think they're that comparable. Salah to me is absolutely world class at what he does, but Hazard was world class about what he did as well. And they're very different types of players. Barcelona 08 or Man United 98-99, says Sood. And prime Salah by far. People say Hazard nostalgic, says Lewis. But I think Salah, but again, I think it's a bit like people voting for Sancho over Sane. Like, I think that's because Sane plays in the Bundesliga and people don't see him and people see Sancho. The same thing with Hazard and Salah. Well, we're witnessing Salah every week, whereas Hazard's not even in the Prem and is probably dusted as well. United fans already have a nickname for Maguire, but I can't repeat it. It says Mustang Motive. Thank you very much for the super chats, by the way. Hey, Xhaka should be booked for that. He caught the ball in play. It's a deliberate handball. Give him a red. Come on, Leicester. Find a way. Now it's Arsenal on the attack though. It's Xhaka into Martinelli. He's on wing. He's on wing. He's still on wing. He's done well. Lovely running by Martinelli. Don't let them score. Lack of threat. Don't worry about it. Good tackle by Leicester. Back post. Saka. Palmed away by Schmeichel. I thought he made a meal of that. Could have caught that. Bad Wave says, why is your house so noisy? Because it's Sunday and people just keep coming through all the time and banging doors. It's not like this in the week. As a Chelsea fan and an Arsenal enemy, want Leicester to win this game. Come on, Liverpool. Would love Manchester United in the top four rather than Arsenal, says Sid Arthur. 3 versus 5 subs in the Premier League, says Johans. I think you should have 5 subs in the Prem. Yeah. I think we'd have a better spectacle as fans if we had 5 subs, because I think the game is, forget what happened with COVID and the intensity of games that had to be replayed. I just think the Premier League especially is becoming more and more intense, and I think I read something the other day that the increase in hamstring injuries over the last 12 months year on year has gone up by about 5%, might even be more. So that's a lot of people picking up soft tissue injuries, and I think that's only going to continue. So I would rather see more subs and more protection of players than see more injuries, because if someone gets a hamstring injury, they're out for 4 or 6 weeks. But what I would say as well is there is a balance. There's always another side to the story. It's never about absolutes. The other side to the story is if you're playing Burnley and you're 0-0 with City in a really good game with 20 minutes to go, obviously Man City can make 5 fresh changes and bring on 5 internationals, and Burnley can't. So a lot of the lesser teams don't want that, because they know that the advantage for them is if the opposition who is stronger can't make subs. But the strong get strong and the weak get weak. As Mike says, it would not be fair on the lower teams. So it would never get voted for. Yeah. Who would you pick between Harry Maguire or Mustafi? James says, watched your stand-up video, enjoyed it. Thanks for beating Spurs yesterday. And Rooney or Aguero, don't hurt me, says Mustang. Well, Prime Salah or Prime Hazard has had 6,700 votes. Prime Salah gets 53% of your votes, and Prime Hazard gets 47% of your votes. So well done on that one. Come on, Rogers. Get Tillemans and Daka and then Diddy on. If Salah was English, would he be our best player? Says the Football 454. Yeah. He's on that. I mean, for me, Salah's in the top 5 in the world. He'd be England's best player comfortably. And England have got some good players. Crossed by Arsenal. Oh, what a save by Schmeichel off the line! Don't do anything with your arm. Anthony Taylor. He's holding it up. It's not gone over the line. He's not going to say a goal. Arsenal's passing through the lines is so good. United have lacked that kind of coaching, says Drew the Loon. Great save by Schmeichel, and then it was cleared off the line as well. GDS. Oh, he's saying, wait a minute. What's he waiting for? Odegaard's clapping something. They're trying to say a handball. Something's going on here for Anthony Taylor. VAR. I think they're trying to say there's a handball. Nah, that's inconclusive. That's inconclusive. You can't give a handball for that. You can't give a handball for that. Nah, you can't give a handball for that. You can't see. You can't give a handball for that. Oh, I don't know. You can't give a penalty for that. It's too inconclusive. It's not beyond reasonable doubt. It's not a clear and obvious error. Oh, it is. It is. That's a handball. It fucking is. You can see the ball move. You can. That one. That's the one. Look. The ball moves. It's a handball. That is a handball. Well, I don't know whether it's a handball because I don't know the rule, but he definitely moved. He definitely. It wasn't going to go in. That's not the angle. They're idiots. They're looking at the wrong angle here. It's the one from behind. You can see the ball moves off his hand. He definitely touches it there. He definitely does touch it there. I'm going to give it. It's going to be a penalty to Arsenal. I've watched that so many times and it's so inconclusive, but the one that gets it is the one from behind, and you see the ball's trajectory. It moves ever so slightly, an inch. But what the rule is, I don't know. Yeah, he's going to give it 100%. And it probably slows the ball down a bit. Yeah, he's going to give that. He's going to give it. He's going to fucking give it. Sionku, you prat. Hands in an unnatural position, though. The hand's in a... I don't know what the rule is. Does anybody know what the rule is? It's not deliberate. You can't give a red. You can't give a red. You can't give a red because he's pulling his hand away. He's giving a pen. Oh, he's giving a pen. I don't understand the handball rule because United didn't get one yesterday. He's going to give a yellow card, and he's going to give a penalty. Penalty to Arsenal. What I will say is, I'm not going to be unbiased. I don't want it to be a penalty. I thought it was really inconclusive, but the camera angle from behind, you see the ball move. It does touch his hand. Now, if that is by the letter of the law, it's a yellow card. If that is by the letter of the, it should never be a bloody red. Why would it be a red? It's not deliberate. There's nothing deliberate about it. His hand is there. Now look, they're showing Lacazette's penalties. He always goes to the left in his last four. He definitely does handball it. Obviously United didn't get one yesterday. So I don't understand what isn't a handball. He definitely moves the ball. I can see why it's been given. I don't like it, but what are you supposed to do? He definitely touches it. And he scores. Lacazette scores. Schmeichel's going mad. I don't know what he's going mad about. I think he's trying to say... I don't know what he's trying to say here. It's lack of threat with a bit of threat. No, he's going to give it. I don't know what Schmeichel was moaning about here. I think he's trying to say that the He hesitates before the goal. One of the most annoying players who've ever played for Arsenal, Lacazette. I don't like his celebrations. Well, I don't know what Schmeichel's moaning about here. I don't know. Top 4 is done, says Varens. Amiasi's happy with his cup of tea. Lovely penalty it was. Yeah. It touches his hand. It does touch his hand. You can see the ball move. It's the tight... It can only touch the very end of his finger. To be fair, it was coming. Arsenal have started the second half the same as the way they started the first half, very well, and they've got a goal each in the first 15 minutes of both halves now. And Ndidi's coming on for Leicester now. Arsenal are going to be back a point ahead of United with 3 games in hand. And the trouble is, it's been easy work for Arsenal, really. They've not really had to break sweat because Leicester are out of form and have rested their bloody whole midfield for a game to play in the bloody Conference League. But, you know, Arsenal have been very efficient. You know, it's in this league, it doesn't matter whether a team rests its midfield. You've still got to go out there and perform, and Arsenal have been the better side. And I just wonder in the second half, one of the worrying things in the second half is that some of these Leicester players did play on Thursday night and Arsenal have had a week off. Mark, invincible Arsenal or present Liverpool team, says Caden. Well, I'd be an idiot if I said current Liverpool team because they might not win anything other than the Carabao Cup. I'm furious about the result, but let's have some perspective. This is the game they banked on winning its next 2 games versus Liverpool, which intrigues me, says Andrew C. Yeah, we'll be doing those next 2 games as a watch-along on this channel. So, yeah, Andrew, focusing the mind. To be fair, the most likely game that Arsenal were going to win of the 3 they've got this week was this one. Obviously, it would have been nice if Leicester had done something in it, but Arsenal will go back a point ahead of United with 3 games in hand. Next week on Sunday, they'll only have 1 game in hand because they're playing Liverpool on Wednesday night and Villa at the weekend. And I think as long as they don't win either of those games, it's still on for United. If they can lose to Liverpool on Wednesday and then hopefully lose to Villa as well, they'd only be a point ahead of us with a game in hand. That's the hope. And Villa's away. Villa is away. The Knight Rider says Mark's delusional. I am. You're right, I am. I'm trying to put a bit of at least I'm trying to put a bit of pressure on Arsenal. You know, Villa away's a really tough game. You know, it really, especially if it's like windy, it's a really tough game. But you know, I'd say Arsenal will be favourites against Villa because they're playing very well. I think if they beat Villa and go 4 points ahead of us with a game in hand, I'd be very worried. If we can keep it to... Basically, we're going to be 1 game... Basically, next Sunday, Arsenal will have 1 game in hand on us. If we're 1 result away, so 2 points behind them, fine. If we're 2 results away, which is 4 points, it's looking difficult. We're going to have to win at the Emirates as well. I'm factoring that in no matter what. We're going to have to win at the Emirates. Please subscribe, by the way, bottom right hand corner. Thanks everyone for watching. We're getting close to 628,000. Click the button in the right hand corner, bottom right hand corner, and subscribe. It's free to do. Everyone's welcome on That's Football. Lots of watch-alongs to come over the next few days and over the next couple of weeks. We've got the World Cup qualifiers. That's going to be huge. Portugal, Italy, hopefully. That'll be massive. Got Formula 1. We're going That's Racing next Sunday afternoon. We've got the Formula 1 coming up on this channel as well. And also we've got the FA Cup quarterfinals next week. We'll be doing Chelsea, Middlesbrough and Forest against Liverpool. Matt, go on Leicester. Old Brighton. And ball ref. They want it. You don't want to give it. Was there much of a shout? Let's have a look. Well, hit the back of his hand. Not having a handball for that. Arteta, says Sharma. Arteta. It's not a penalty. It was never a penalty. Are Doncaster Rovers going down to League 2? Says It's Ollie. I don't know, mate. I've got no idea. Yeah, tune into United Stand at 8 o'clock tonight. Looking forward to it. The Sunday night show. Mark's in the mud, says Niall. Well, I suppose I am, because I want United to get top 4. But here we go! Oh, come on! Tierney's quicker to it than Harvey Barnes. That could have been a goal. Come on, Leicester, do something. Yeah, I suppose as a United fan you are in the mud, of course. Yeah, definitely have to take that on the chin. But remember, I also, in a way, taking the United fan thing out of it, I predicted that Arteta was doing the right thing and building towards it. And I had a load of Arsenal fans saying, you don't know what you're on about. Keep your nose out of our business. And lo and behold, I've been proved right. I could see what he was doing. From day one, I knew what he was doing. There's no way, when Arsenal fans were moaning about Arteta parking the bus and playing a back five and saying we don't want him, there's absolutely no way a guy who sat next to Pep Guardiola for a few years as his assistant coach, playing some of the best football the Premier League's seen, gets a job and then goes, I want to play counter-attacking football with a back five. He was grinding results out while he rebuilt the club. And the club's patience, I mean, I've been very critical of Arsenal over the years. You know, I think they were obsessed with 4th place and that was their limit. But with Arteta, their patience has massively paid off. And it does worry me. That's why I say with total conviction, Arsenal deserve top 4 at the moment. And they are big favourites to get top 4 at the moment. Doesn't mean I can't hope and try and put a bit of pressure on them. But as I said, they've got no cup football. They're totally focused on this. They look well organised. I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago. I don't think Xhaka and Partey are the best midfield 2 in the world, but they work together and they're the best midfield 2 outside the top 4. What are you trying to do? Get 4th place. Again, I don't think White and Gabriel are the best centre-back pairing in the world, but they're one of the best centre-back pairings outside the top 3. That's all they want to do. They're just going for 4th. And he's built a team that actually can compete in the key areas for that position, which is why they're in a strong position for that position. Can't get top 4 with a donkey at the back, says Ralph. And isn't ball to hand not a foul, pen but hand to ball, says David Johnson. I don't know. But the thing about Arsenal is that, you know, people say it's embarrassing that Arsenal are going to get top 4 for United, and it is very embarrassing. When you buy Varane, Sancho, Ronaldo and add it to a team that finished 2nd last year, it is very embarrassing. But I've been talking about it, many United fans have been talking about it for 2.5 years. We need to buy a CDM. We've been calling ourselves Bagel FC for 2 years. We have got no holding midfielder. Why is a holding midfielder so important? Because games are won and lost in the midfield. If you get control of the midfield, you will create chances and you will protect your defence. If you never get control of your midfield, you're going to concede a lot of chances and you're not going to create as many chances. And United have chosen not to do that. So look, you can have Ronaldo, you can have Bruno, you can have Sancho, you can have Varane. But Arsenal have got a better centre-back pairing and they've got a better midfield. And it doesn't matter how many good players you've got. If you've got a better centre-back pairing and you've got a better midfield, it doesn't surprise me that over a 38-game season, they're in a stronger position than us. As a Rashford fan, I'm taking Barnes over Rashford, says Matt. Leicester without Vardy are going to struggle yet. He's huge for them. They do play to his pace. Robert says, do you think Conte will leave Spurs in the summer? I think Spurs mentality makes him sick. Look, I'd take Conte in a heartbeat at Manchester United. I don't know whether United fans would agree with me on that or not, but I actually thought Spurs played well yesterday. I thought their football was was decent. But again, he's managing Spurs, like you say. It's not an easy job. Whether Conte will stay there or not, I don't know. I've never been to Vegas, Neon. Thanks everyone who's liked the video, and thanks everyone who's subscribed, by the way. 14,000 watching, really appreciate it. Next watch along on this channel will be Wednesday nights, which is going to be a bit of everything really, because we've got Chelsea's second leg in the Champions League, which they should be okay. They're 2-0 up, but you never know. It could, if Lille scored early, it could change. Spurs playing Brighton at 7:30, and then the main feature will be Arsenal against Liverpool, which is at 8:15. So that's the next watch along, and my next watch along is actually Tuesday night on the United stand. Massive game against Atletico Madrid. 20 minutes to go. This second half's gone really quick. I saw somebody there saying, do you think it's better for United if they don't get top 4? The problem with not getting top 4 for United is I don't know that Ronaldo would be here next season. I'm a die-hard Arsenal fan and love your content. I don't miss a United show to keep up with the goss, to give my brother banter. Keep going, Scooby-Doo, says Robinson Crusoe. Thanks, pal. And look, you know what? I do know a few Arsenal fans who talk sense. I don't massively begrudge any, nice fan of another club success. I don't want Arsenal to do well. Of course I don't. That's what rivalry is all about. But I do appreciate that there are Liverpool fans that are okay. There are Chelsea fans that are okay. There are Arsenal fans, City fans that are okay. And I don't begrudge them success when their team deserves it. I just don't like it. But the Arsenal fans I have a problem with are the prats who just talk absolute nonsense, like they know what they're on about. I mean, the Arteta out stuff is just ridiculous. When you've had the success Arsenal have had over the last 15 years, and you've got you've got a manager that's basically been working under Pep, so he knows what he's on about. He's played for your club, and he's very clearly building a future. And people are like, "Oh, get rid of him! I want Conte or Mourinho." It's like, fucking, what sort of fan have you? I mean, the whole point of Ollie, and we all look idiots as United fans, but the whole point of Ollie, and the reason we sang the song about the bus, is because, God, the dream is to have somebody who's played for your club go and rebuild your club. Of course it is. But for Arsenal fans, they just don't. Some Arsenal fans just really seem to have it in for Arteta because, and let's be honest, some Arsenal fans just do it for effect. They just talk absolute nonsense. Like, you'll win this game and there'll be an Arsenal fan saying we're going to win the Champions League or something like that. I think genuine Arsenal fans who know what it's all about, they know that next season will be very difficult. They're massively ahead of schedule if they get in the Champions League. You're not going to refuse it. It'd be brilliant. But you're massively ahead of schedule. There's no way Arsenal were expecting top 4 this year. And it will be a huge achievement for the players and the manager if they do it. And I hope they don't. But if they do, it'll be a huge achievement. And if they don't do it, I still think it's a very positive season. But I think they're ahead of schedule. It will be a very difficult season for them next year. But if Arteta has a summer this summer like he did next summer, this team's going to get even better. I like this chat from Blade. This is what we need. If Arsenal don't make top 4 from here, they're bigger bottlers than Spurs. I'm having some of that. I'll try anything. If Arsenal don't get top 4 from here, they are the biggest bottlers ever. Yeah, I'm having some of that. Bottle jobs. Ooh, put the pressure on them. Make them feel nervous. Get on all the Arsenal players' Instagrams tonight and just reply and say, if you don't get top 4's done. If you don't get top 4, you're a right bunch of bottlers. Percentage of Arsenal getting top 4, Mark? I wouldn't say it's 70% chance yet. I'd say that it's not 50-50. They've got a much better chance than 50-50. But I'd say they've got a 65% chance of getting top 4 right here, right now. which is a lot. Piers Morgan's one, says 58 go. I think Piers Morgan is a big Arsenal fan, obviously, but he's obviously very protective of his friendship with Aubameyang and just doesn't like Arteta. It's not, that must be a horrible place to be, where you're a fan of a club but you don't want your team to be successful deep down. I think he wants to be proved right. I think he really wants to be proved right about Arteta, and at some point he will do, because no manager is ever successful forever unless you're really lucky and you get a Sir Alex. But yeah, I think you're right. I think there are some fans like that are just having to be quiet at the moment, and they're just waiting to get in on Arteta. But the problem is, the higher Arteta and this Arsenal team set the bar, if he doesn't get top 4 next year, people will be going, he took us as far as he can. That's the thing about success, isn't it? You keep hiring the barrier. Problem with United is we're the other way around. With Sir Alex, we were winning titles. Now we're struggling for top 4. The football's weird. You can lower the barrier each year, and they want to up the barrier. Focus on the game. There's not a lot happening at the moment. 15 minutes to go. Leicester are pushing. I think there's going to be another goal. Still time for Leicester if they can get back into it. Leicester are focusing on the Conference League, which I thought was quite surprising at the start. No Tillemans, no Ndidi, no Daka. All of them played on Thursday night when they beat Rennes 2-0. They'll all play on Thursday night away to Rennes. But I think the Conference League is an embarrassment. But if you win it, you're in the Europa League, aren't you? And Leicester aren't getting into Europe from the league, and they're not getting relegated. So I suppose logically, yes, you do prioritise the Conference League, and that's what they're doing. Goal scorers, Andrew. Lacazette scored a penalty in the second half, and first half goal was Partey from a corner. Header. Overfloater says Arsenal will finish top 4. It's done. Well, it's not. It's not done, mate. It's never over till it's over, and it's not done. Smith Rowe's coming on for the last 15 minutes. It's not done. It's not over. They are favourites. We need them to bottle it. It's going to be very difficult. They're a point ahead of us now with 3 games in hand, and we've got to go to their place in April. But all United can do is win. If United win every game, which they won't, I still think if United win every game, we go up to something like so United are on 50 points. They've got 9 games left. Hey, if United win every game, they get 77 points. That'll be enough for 4th place easily. So it's not over, is it? Because if United win every game, we will get 4th place. Guarantee you now, 77 points will get United top 4. But we're not going to win every game. But it's not over. And I would still say, if Arsenal don't lose to Liverpool and lose to Villa, it sort of leaves it a little bit ajar. What United don't want, and what can't happen is, we've got to try and stay, and it's not in our hands, it's in Arsenal's hands, we've got to try and stay up within a result of them. If they draw against Villa and they lose to Liverpool, they're only 2 points ahead of us. All right, they've still got a game in hand, but it's only 2 points. If they go beyond being 3 points ahead of us, that's when it becomes a problem. Because even if we beat them at the Emirates, they're still ahead of us. Are Arsenal the best young team in the world, says JL? I very much doubt that, mate. You see, that's the sort of fan I'm talking about. Are Arsenal going to win the league next year? Are they? We're going to win the Champions League. We've got the best young team in the world. That's the Arsenal fan I don't like. The one that just wants to do polls on Twitter, gets overexcited about everything. They're on the path, but that's the sort of Arsenal fan that's got the problem with Arteta, because they want to win the Champions League tomorrow, and if you lose tomorrow, they want the manager sacked tomorrow. They've not been able to. They're exactly the Arteta out t-shirts. They're exactly the fan I'm on about, because they're so narrow-minded and impatient. They couldn't see what was happening here. They couldn't see that a team that's been nowhere near top 4, it's not been in Europe for 5 years, is it? It's been 8th the last 2 seasons. They couldn't see that a team that was perennial losers, it was going to take time for them to get back. It's only took you 2 years. That's quicker than I thought. It's only took you 2 years to be back fighting for top 4. But some of their fans can't understand that from where you were, it's going to take time. And that's why some of those fans will now be going, oh yeah, I think we can win the league next year. It's like, you're not going to win the league next year. You're not going to fight for the league next year, no way. 2 years minimum, probably 5. You're not going to win the league next year. But that's what people will start talking about if you get top 4. Unrealistic. I wouldn't put it past Arsenal. What worries me is I'm looking at the Villa game and I'm thinking, please don't beat Villa. That's our big hope. Because I'm assuming Liverpool are going to beat them. But I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal got a result against Liverpool on Wednesday, which would be massive in the title race. But I wouldn't put it past Arsenal to get a result against Liverpool on Wednesday. And that's the one that worries me, because if they get a result against Liverpool on Wednesday, it's over. I mean, and even a point. If they can get a result against Liverpool, that is huge progression for them, and I think that would be over. I think that's the game that worries me the most. Just jinx Arsenal, says Marvin. I'm trying. I'm really trying. It's not working. He's got some deflector shield on my jinx. I said before the game kicked off, this will be an easy win for Arsenal, and it has been. That's not how it's worked. I'd say Liverpool should beat Arsenal, but what I'm saying is it wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal got something out of it, because they're confident, they're focused. It's another clean sheet at the moment, but I've got to say Leicester's approach to this game, it's never good when you don't pick your normal choice midfield because you're focusing on the Conference League. It's not the right mentality to go away from home against a team that's had a week off and drop your midfield out for a rest. It never looked good, did it? Hi Mark, big fan from Saudi Arabia. What do you think of the work Eddie Howe is doing with Newcastle? I think he's doing a fantastic job at Newcastle. I think the thing about Newcastle is, yes, they've spent some money and obviously that's going to keep them up. But the money is spent, really. It's not... Whilst it's, Trippier was good and Bruno Guimaraes is a fantastic signing as well, but Chris Wood from Burnley, he's bought the right sort of players to stay up. That's the interesting thing. Here's Smith Rowe on the left. Oh, a bit selfish there. He could have squared it back. 10 minutes to go. Mark, video idea, FIFA rate clubs in Premier League, assuming Man City and Liverpool are low 90s, where would Arsenal, United and Spurs be? Proper attack, midfield, defensive ratings, you'd be better than real FIFA. I don't know what? I don't even understand that. The what? Video idea, FIFA rate clubs in Premier League, assuming Man City and... I don't get it. You'd have to... I might be being an idiot here, but I don't actually understand what you're on about. FIFA rate clubs in Premier League, assuming Man City and Liverpool are low 90s. Where would Arsenal, United and Spurs be? Proper attack, midfield, defensive ratings. You'd be better than real FIFA. Oh, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean now. It's the cards, isn't it? Where it rates the teams on defence, attack and midfield. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's not player cards, it's rated. Yeah. See, I got there in the end. I know what you mean. But in fairness, when FIFA rate the clubs, they do it at the start of the season, don't they? Thoughts are with Scott Hall, says CJ. Singing in the masses, music in the masses. All right, he's had 3 heart attacks, Scott Hall. What was his name in wrestling? I'm just reading a comment here that apparently it's neck and neck between Eric Ten Hag and Pochettino. That's scary in itself. Why would Pochettino even be neck and neck? It's terrifying that it's even neck and neck. Razor Ramon, that was his name, yeah. Mark, honest predictions on Arsenal fixtures left. Liverpool, Villa, Palace, Brighton, Southampton, Spurs, United, West Ham, Leeds, Newcastle, Everton. Not going to lie, easy wins, says Andrew C. It's very hard to predict, mate, but Arsenal have got 51 points with 12 games left. Do I think they're going to get 19 points from 36? Yes. So they're going to get 70 points, and I think 70 points will get them top 4. So I don't need to go into the in-depth nature of their fixtures. They've got 12 games left, which is 36 points. And I think they'll get 19 easy. So that puts them on 70 points. And I don't think United will get 70 points. So they'll get top 4. So that's a very, very quick way of doing it for me. Hey Mark, huge Arsenal fan from California, but absolutely love your content. Hard being a Premier League fan here in California, but love your work and keep it up. Thanks, Dan. And please do subscribe, bottom right-hand corner if you're new. It's probably been a very, very predictable performance result. 2-0 was probably what I would have predicted before the game. I didn't know Leicester were going to rest Tielemans and Ndidi, and I think that played into Arsenal's hands, but I think it's been easier than maybe Arsenal fans thought it was going to be, but you can understand why Leicester have done it. It's frustrating, but we'll all get benefits from this. We'll be playing somebody in April that Arsenal fans will moan about. They'll be like, we'll be playing somebody who's on the beach. This is the problem. When you're looking at games towards the end of the season, you don't want to be playing teams that are going to get relegated because they'll play like their lives depend on it. You want to be playing the Leicesters. You want to be playing the Southamptons. You want to be playing the Brightons because they've got nothing to play for. So it's very hard to predict results anyway because you'll go, oh, we've got Watford at home. That's easy. Not if they're playing for their livelihoods. It's not. Feel sorry for Ronaldo coming back to such a shambolic club, says Tan. And Mark, United wouldn't get 20 million for Maguire after the last few performances. Terrible defender, says Marcus S. Thank you very much for the super chats that have come in. Please do subscribe, by the way, bottom right hand corner. What do you think of Matip? I think he's one of our best centre backs from August to January, says Frank. I think Matip is to Liverpool what Odegaard is to Arsenal. Fundamental, underrated, and having a big season. Obviously, Matip's doing it on a different level because he's going for the title, he's going for the Champions League. But, relative to ambitions at the start of the season, Arsenal basically are going for the title. I know Arsenal fans won't like me saying that, but if you look at where you were at the start of the season, getting top 4 is like winning the league for you because that's your level at the moment. You look at, and I'm not being disrespectful, look at the league. Look at Chelsea, Liverpool and Man City and the coaches they've got and the players they've got. You can't compete with them at the moment. So 4th place is your title. I'm not taking the piss. It's our title as well. So, I think Odegaard has been very important for Arsenal. New chant, Lord of the Dance, Ralph Rants, wherever you may be. You can win as the Cup, you can win as the League. And if you win them both, you can win as the treble too because that's what Man United do, says Mike. I don't think that's going to work, Mike. It's too musical. It's too theatre for a fan base in a crowd. That Mark, will Elanga come in for Rashford on Tuesday? Says Joseph. I don't know. You see, you get people saying, "Oh, it's United's level as well." It's because you don't understand. This is the thick fan here. I'm actually paying you a compliment. Like you were never going to be in a title race this season. You shouldn't have been in a top 4 race. You've overachieved this year, Arsenal. But people are going, oh, that's disrespectful. No, I'm actually paying you a compliment. Like, 4th place for you this season is outstanding. Go on, Leicester. Oh, he's missed the bloody ball. Go on, Leicester. No. United's embarrassing. Man United are a complete and utter embarrassment. The season we've had's a bloody joke. But I'm one of the few people who actually did... I didn't get it right, but I wasn't far off. I said I fancied Arsenal for 5th. Which is still higher than a lot of people thought. Try reverse jinxing, Mark. I'm trying, Rahul. I'm trying to reverse jinx. I've already done it for Wednesday. You might not have picked it up. I've already said, I quite fancy Arsenal to get a result on Wednesday. I tell you what, I think they'll beat Villa on Saturday as well. I'm trying. Best player on the pitch today. My man of the match today is probably Odegaard. Underrated, but he's ran the game, hasn't he? I mean, the goals that Arsenal scored, one of them's because Sionku's handballed it, and the other one's just bad marking on a corner. So it's very workmanlike from Arsenal today. They've been the better side. They deserve to win, but it's not, they've not carved Leicester open to score their goals. They've been clinical. But I do think some of their build-up play has been very good. But I would say Odegaard. Partey's a good shout as well. You can't have a moan about the centre-backs again. I think their spine has been solid. Ramsdale, when he's been called upon. Lacazette's not done a bad job, really. But the spine of the team, again. Look, there you go. Goldbridge on fire. They've just given Odegaard man of the match, and I didn't know the stats. There you go. Smash a like for that. Literally a minute before they've put the stats up, they've just put Odegaard as man of the match. Well, there you go. If you said Odegaard. As an Arsenal fan, I completely agree. We overachieve this season if we get top 4, especially after the start we had. Can't wait for the documentary. I tell you what, that All or Nothing documentary will be... I won't watch it. I won't be able to watch it. But it will be good TV because the season started terribly. You lost your first 3 games. And if you come and get top 4, it's the redemption arc, isn't it? Dean says that United aren't getting top 4, Mark. But Dean, I think you're just beating yourself up. Like, we're probably not going to get top 4. You're right, but it's not over yet. Like, it's not over yet. You can't just say we're not getting it. You've got to just hope, haven't you? And if Arsenal lose their next 2, it opens the door up. If they get a win out the next 2, it's probably gone. Yeah. Hi Mark, score prediction for United versus Bulgaria next season in the Conference League, says Damien. Don't start getting on at me, Chelsea fan. I've actually been alright with you the last week. I've not actually had a go at Chelsea at all. I've said, look, you know what, it'll be fine at Chelsea. So don't fucking start on me, Chelsea, because I'll make a video taking the piss out of you, which I won't, because I don't actually think that. But I've been alright to Chelsea fans this week. I've said I think a lot of the criticism's unfair. It's not their fault. So, the trouble with United not getting top 4 is that Ronaldo will go. That's the problem. Thanks everyone who subscribed, by the way. Bottom right hand corner to do it. Really enjoy this channel at the moment because, to be honest, United's not great. United stands a stress conversation most of the time. So thanks everyone who subscribed. Bottom right hand corner to do it. Get involved with the channel. Who's the biggest bottler, Brendan Rodgers or Poch? And why were they both linked with Man United at some point? Aaron, they were linked with United, and I would have took both of them because they're better than Ollie. But they can't be the future choice now. We've waited till the summer. You've got to go and get Ten Hag. You've got to get Ten Hag. For me, it's absolutely essential that we do that. You can see what a man can do with time, and United need to be looking at that. 8 o'clock tonight on the United stand. We've got the forum. Looking forward to it. Tune in. Leicester did win the FA Cup last year, but Arteta won the FA Cup, and they were still printing T-shirts to get rid of him, even though they couldn't see what he was doing. So. Leicester are clearly going to try and win the Conference League, aren't they? That's where their focus is going to be. Could well benefit United next. Our next game is Leicester at home. Ramsdale must be England's number 1. It's an absolute farce that it's still Pickford as number 1, to be fair. Do you think Everton are going to get relegated? I'd be very worried if I was an Everton fan. I would be very worried. Your run-in is a bloody nightmare. Yes, you've got the games in hand, but I don't... if you're staying up, you've got to win your home games, and losing to Wolves is a funny one, really. Only hope is if we win the Champions League, says Dean. Mate, Man United trying to win the Champions League is like me turning up in Bahrain next Sunday afternoon for the Formula 1 race, and they're all there in their brand new hundreds of millions of pound cars, and I'm there in my 10-year-old Vauxhall Astra that hasn't got a full tank of petrol. We ain't winning the Champions League. We're not. People say, well, anything can happen. We're not winning the Champions League. We're not going to win the Champions League because it's even if we beat Atletico Madrid, we're only in the quarterfinals, and we can't pull out Stockport or Stoke. We're going to pull out a Liverpool or a Man City or a Chelsea at some point before the final, and then we're going to have to win the final as well. We won't win the Champions League. We're not, and that might be. I might be jinxing that we do. I'd love it, but oh my God, what's Michael doing there? He's got away with it, but yeah, we're not going to win the Champions League. To be honest, you could put me in a Formula 1 car and I wouldn't win the race, would I? To be honest, I don't need to be in the Astra. Anyway, final result 2-0 for Arsenal. I'd love to say well done, but it doesn't really help my team at all. But Leicester obviously focusing on the Conference League. Arsenal focusing on the Premier League, and the team that's focusing on the Premier League wins in the Premier League quite comfortably in the end. No game's ever easy in the Prem, I'll admit, but workmanlike by Arsenal, and they move ahead of Manchester United again, 3 games in hand. Big week for Arsenal. We'll be doing the watch-alongs for Liverpool and Villa over the next few days. But thanks everyone for watching. I'm on the United Stand at 8 o'clock. Tune in for that. And really enjoyed the show apart from the result, but good conversation as ever. Take care, everyone. I'll speak to you all very soon.